everybody. Welcome to the Prestige webinar on your W-2. The goal today is to give you as much information as we can to get you started on understanding the form and what goes into it and kind of why you even have it. So to introduce myself, my name is Melissa Analfo. I am the Supervisor of Client Success and Operations here at PrestigePEO. So I'm going to be taking you through all of this great information. Now, before we even get started, there is a Q&A function here that you'll see in the meeting, so feel free to use it. If I can't get to your questions today, we will get back to you with that information. But we will have a small FAQ at the end as well, so hopefully we can answer the majority of your questions as they go on. So when it comes to your W-2, I also want to start this by saying that you don't have it yet. They will be postmarked by January 31st, and that is an IRS regulation. So what is a W-2? So employers are required to report your wage and salary information on this form. In this form, you're going to have all of your details on it. Now, it's going to show the income you've received, the taxes that you withheld, benefit contributions, right? Those anything that really involves your wages, it's going to be on here. This is the form that you also use to file your federal and state taxes, your tax returns, which everybody loves tax return season, I'm sure. Now, when I say they need to be postmarked by January 31st, it means they need to go in the mail by that date, which means you might receive this form after that date. So if you don't have this form in your mailbox come the 31st of this month, do not panic. That is quite normal. Now, once they're postmarked and sent in the mail, they will also be made online. So you'll be able to get an electronic form through the employee portal. More on that in a little bit. But you can also wait for the hard copy to come. There's no wrong way either way. I also do encourage all employees to download the Prestige Go mobile app. With that, you can access your W-2 electronically once it's posted, and any pay stubs that you might have had from the prior year that you want to take a look at. So when you look at your W-2, you're going to see a number of boxes all throughout. So let's start with box one. Box one, your gross taxable wages paid, right? So let's think it's your salary, wages, tips, bonuses, commissions, right? Anything that's just subject to federal and state tax. Now you're thinking, well, if I earned $50,000 last year, why, or let's say $60,000, why is this saying $50,000? That is because this number is after your pre-tax deductions. So things like health insurance or other, non-taxable income that you might set aside, that you might defer, that's not going to be included in this number because that portion of your income is not taxed. That could also be something like mileage, reimbursement, 401k, things like that. Now, those reimbursements might not lower other boxes, right? So let's just look at box one. It's the total income that is subject to tax. Now, when you look at box three, it's similar to box one, but it's wages that are only subject to Social Security tax. So if you earn tips, that won't be included in this number. There's also a yearly cap on how much of your income can be taxed for Social Security. So that means that this box really may be lower than box one for a number of reasons. Maybe you earn tips, or maybe you've hit that cap and the rest of your salary was not taxed for Social Security. When it comes to box five, it's similar to the Social Security tax, but this is Medicare tax. It's a separate tax line, you can say. There's no cap. So where box three, portion of your wages might not be taxed for Social Security, for box five, all of your earnings are subject to Medicare. So that means box three also might not match box five. I think a lot of the questions that we receive is, all the numbers are different. Why? So this is a really good explanation as to why you might see different numbers throughout box 1, 3, and 5. Now, jumping to box 7, Social Security tips. So box 3 had your wages without tips, and box 7 is now the tips that are subject to Social Security. So basically, box 3 and box 7 should equal box 1 if you feel like doing the math. Now, looking at box 16, you're going to see state wages, tips, and whatnot. So whereas boxes 1, 3, 5, and 7 were about federal income, box 16 is about state income. So what I mean by that is that the state you're in might have different laws when it comes to taxation on your income, and that's in addition to the federal. So these are all of your taxable wages that are subject to the state tax. Now, because the state might have different kind of tax requirements than the federal government, again, this box might not match box 1. Same thing for box 18. Now we're down on the local level. So depending on where you live locally, there might be another tax line and another set of tax requirements. So again, your gross income that is subject to local tax. So also might not match box 1. Now, when it comes to your W-2, there's a couple things that come up often. So when we talk about W-2s right now, although we are in 2022, we are reporting 2021 wages. So this is your 2021 W-2. So one of a common question we're going to see is, if you joined Prestige, if your company joined with Prestige this year, right, your first paycheck with Prestige was in the year 2022, you will not receive a W-2 from us. That is because Prestige did not report any income for you in 2021. Next year, you will definitely get a W-2 from us if you received income this year with us. Now, if your company joined with Prestige last year, let's say in the middle of the year, you will get 2 W-2s, right? W-2s are reported on the employer level. Prestige, for all intents and purposes, is considered an employer of record, right? So what you'll find this year, if your company joined Prestige last year in the middle of the year, you will have a W-2 from before you joined Prestige, and then you will have a W-2 for after you joined Prestige, and that one will be through us. We will only be providing you the one where your wages were reported under us. Now, there's also sometimes a back and forth when it comes between a W-4 and a W-2. So they're kind of similar. They work together in a way, but they are not the same form. So your W-4 is, they have a federal one and you might have a state one depending on where you live. This is that form where you get to decide what your taxes will kind of look like. Let's say you can make your elections for how you are taxed, right? Those are the forms where you might have seen things like single, married filing separate, married filing joint, right? That's just a couple examples. You can update your W-4 at any time during the year. If you wanted to, you could change it paycheck to paycheck, right? We would always recommend you work with a financial advisor if you have questions on how to fill out your W-4. But you'll notice that if you change your W-4, you might see a change in the taxes withheld from your pay stub. Based on your income and taxes paid, that's going to update what is reflected on that W-2. That W-2, you won't be changing that, every pay period because we provide that to you once a year based on your income and tax withholdings. Also, when you're looking at your W-2, for example, you're going to see something that's like CAFE 125, right? Why does it say CAFE? What is the 125? That's the IRS code for benefits, right? Pre-tax benefits. Health insurance, 401k, if you contribute to an FSA, right? So what you're going to find there is that the name for it is CAFE 125. So if you see that listed, that's all that it is referring to. And then comes down to how you're accessing your W-2. So like I mentioned before, it's going to be posted on your employee portal. So when you log into your employee portal on the desktop, I'll say, on the left-hand side is a navigation pane. On that pane, there is it's like a line called text. If you click that, the drop down, you'll have an option for W-2. From there, you can select the year for which you want to extract, and you can save it as a PDF. You can print it. You can just leave it there forever. That option is yours. Like mentioned before as well, you can also go ahead and pull up the mobile app. So it should be under payroll and tax. You'll be able to retrieve your W-2 right from there as well. Save it to your phone, send it to a printer. It doesn't matter. It's all there. Now, there is an option too. If you do not want to receive a paper form, let us know. You'll always get an electronic form, and unless otherwise stated, you will also receive a paper form in the mail. If you don't want to, let us know. We can make sure you only get an electronic W-2. But again, those paper forms will be in the mail by January 31st of this year. When they're in the mail and when they are available online, a communication will go out to all employees letting you know you can go ahead and retrieve it, right? That's when you can scan it. You can maybe reflect back on this webinar. There's some video content online as well, which everybody can access from our website, kind of breaking this down again to understand the boxes and how they work and why they're different, right? But once you get it, take a look at it, and we're always here to answer your questions about the numbers and why it's there. What we see very often is that somebody might pull their last pay stub from the year 2021, and that's where they're like, well, my income looks different than this number, right? And then we can go back to the content here and remember that it's after, pre-tax benefits, 401k is not included, things of that nature, right? So we're here to work with you to get through this. And I do want to remind all participants that there is the Q&A feature if there are additional questions. We did one yesterday. We had a couple of really great questions coming through. So please feel free to use that. I'll see if I can get to you in the meantime. Now, if you have any questions about your W-2 when you get it, there's a number of options that you have. So with Prestige, you have your service team. So you can log into the employee portal, or you can, again, open up your mobile app, and you'll see who is part of your service team at Prestige, right? So you have an agent business partner, you have a payroll specialist, you have a benefits specialist. You call the team. That team is going to be there to take a look at your information and help you out with kind of like, confirming why things look the way they are. So I have a question here about, do I know when they're going to be available? I do not know the exact date. I know that it has to be by January 31st. That is just the IRS deadline. If it is available sooner, if they do become available sooner, everybody will get an email notification. It'll come directly from us at Prestige. So, please keep your eye out for that. We'll also be contacting the client managers, our contacts for your organizations. So hopefully in more ways than one, you will be notified as soon as it's made available online, if it is before the deadline of January 31st. Let's see what else we have here. I think we only have one question so far. So that's the biggest thing that I do want to stress is that once we get it, take a look at it. Don't panic when those numbers are different. That's the biggest thing. And yes, this webinar will be available for review. It is actively being recorded. It's going to be posted online. We'll send it out via email to everybody. And we'll also provide a link to another video, which kind of goes around all of this information again, but just to each his own and depending on how you kind of want to take a look at it. I see somebody asking about living in one state and working in another. So that I would encourage, we'll reach out to you to kind of talk about how that looks. You are taxed based on where you live and where you work, right? So you might see both of those tax lines on your W-2. Just depending on where you live and where you work, the taxation requirements may vary, right? So I have your information here. We will reach out to you and kind of talk you through how that's going to look, because that's a very good question. So that is a common thing that you might see on your W-2 of, multiple states, just depending on where you live and where you work. Great question. You know what? I'm going to give it about, a few more minutes to see if additional questions come through. Again, if we can't answer them live on this webinar, we will reach out to you and contact you with some information to make sure that you are equipped to, take a look at your W-2 and file your taxes. Again, I do want to stress that when you are filing your taxes, we do encourage you to work with, a financial advisor, an accountant, anybody like that who can really help give you advice, I'll say. That's the best way about it, just so you know that what you're doing is accurate and whatnot. So we definitely encourage that. And then if you have questions, what really comes after W-2 that we find is that everyone wants to update their tax forms so that maybe their tax differently. Yep, I see that question just come through now. Any changes to your tax forms that you're not sure about? Again, that's a really great question for a financial advisor who knows your situation, because there are multiple ways to file, whether you're filing single or filing married, right? So those are the best kind of questions to bring to somebody who can dissect your situation. You know, whether it's an individual or with a significant other. All right, so another question that I do see here coming through, if your work is headquartered in New York City, but you live in Texas, do you pay New York income state taxes? So again, we will reach out to you on these questions to make sure that we are looking at all of the information that we have in our system, and we'll kind of give you a heads up on what to expect on your W-2. Very similar to if you live in one state and work in another. So there's a lot of different things that might go into it, right? So we'll take a look at your record and we'll work with you on that one. But these are all really good questions, which is perfect to be kind of in anticipation of, you know, everyone getting these forms and it's time to file. So what we hope today is that understanding, you know, I'm going to actually back up on this a little bit. Let me see if I can kind of move this through. Looking at all of these boxes, right? Box 1, 3, 5, 7, 16, and 18, those main boxes, right? Understanding why they're different and what it is reflecting. Now, the states and numbers that you see on here are going to be individual to you, right? Where you live and where you work, right? And the different laws surrounding that. So for these, you know, situations that I see coming up in our Q&A, they're absolutely fantastic. So we'll definitely kind of get back to you with an explanation of what you can expect right now. Again, I see another question about, a different HR service in the beginning of the year, and moved to Prestige in August. So great question. So if you were with 2 different providers last year, each provider will provide a W-2 for the wages that were reported under them. So you will receive 2 for the year in which you had 2 providers. Yes, I can go back to the slide that showed box 1 and 6. Let me get that over here. All right, and I'll leave that up for a minute. Let's see. I think it was box 1 and 6. So let's see what we can do here. Sorry, guys, a lot of questions coming through. You guys are great. Shows boxes 1 through 6. Here, I'm going to pull this one up. I think it has the majority of them up here. I love the interaction. This is super helpful. But again, we're going to go ahead and post this online for everybody to see, and we'll send out those recordings and everything. But I see everybody's name who I do have questions coming through about, you know, where they're living and where they're working, right? So that's perfect. We'll be able to kind of look into your information and let you know what to expect. Love all of this. Any questions about changing your taxes? Again, really great questions for financial advisors who will be able to just like help you understand what your, I guess you could say liability is, or what your responsibility is when it comes to taxes, right? And filing. So they'll be able to guide you through that process. All right, everybody. So we are about to hit our limit. I see another question kind of regarding the other boxes and codes. We'll get back to you on the different codes about like what you might see like CAFE 125 or D or DG. So that's really great. And I see one more question coming through. Could we do a seminar on commuter benefits? Ooh, I like that idea. I'll let them know. I tend to be the one up on these webinars. So I think that's great. Love the feedback. So please keep it coming. So what I'm going to do, everybody, is I'm going to go ahead and leave this up for about another minute so we can get some more questions coming through. I absolutely love how many we've received. Just so you know, we got more this time than yesterday, which is great. The interaction is perfect. Love people adding to their list. This is great. But again, thank you. This has been so beyond awesome getting to talk with everybody, even though it's one-sided. But you will hear from us. We do hope that this brought a lot of information out to you. Again, keep your eyes out for the recording of this and our other video content. And we hope that it really just, you know, eases some concern about the stressful time that can be W-2 season. So hope everybody's ready for it because it's pretty much here. And awesome. We will talk to everybody quite soon. Thank you so much again for coming on. We hope this is not the last time.